Recording in progress.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Art 196, Introduction to Designing Web Graphics for the fall semester 2021. Today, my hope is to finish up lesson 9. What we'll be doing is continuing to work on the tables and styling them. In particular, what we're going to do is make sure that they are styled for smartphones, so that it's the responsive component to this class. Make sure that your pages and every element on the page is formatted correctly depending on the size of the screen that it's being viewed on. So what you're looking at the moment is the finished version of this page. Okay. Now, this is what it looks like on a large screen. Then it just shrinks down a little bit for a tablet. But then when we get to the smartphone, all the way down here, notice how it changes. The entire table is reformatted so that it fits properly on a smartphone. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, and it is quite tedious. And like I say, I will just continue to do this, even if you guys have to leave, until we're done today, because I'm kind of tired of it myself. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's switch to the beginning. This is the one that we've been working on. And if I scrunch it down, you can see it's not formatted correctly. It just makes it smaller. And that doesn't really help us all that much. I mean, it's a good start, but the final results that we get are much better with the finish than we see in the finished version. So what we need to do is we're going to make sure that we have the CSS designer visible. We also want to make sure that we want green styles selected, but more so that, because that's what we're working on. But in particular, what we're going to do is the media query that we created in an earlier lesson, we're going to work on that. So to make sure that everything that we're doing to this looks correct, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to scrunch it down until it gets to the small smartphone size. And then we're going to begin adding all of the elements that we need to make it look like what I had just shown you in the finished version. So to start with, what we're going to do down here is in a new selector. I don't want, let's see, I want to show all for the moment. And let's go to current and turn that off. I don't want to say show set just now, but we will be doing that because there's a lot of individual elements that need to be added that, or it's easy, really easy to goof up if you're not careful. So the first thing that we want to do is we're going to, and again, make sure that the maximum width for 26 pixels is selected. This is a media query that we're adding selectors to a media query that we created. Is that what I want to do is I want to select section, create section. Wait a minute. I don't want to do that. I want to add one. I don't want to hunt for it. So there we go. I want a new media query here that's section, not a new media query, a new element here, section TD, table data. And we're also going to apply it to the section table header. Okay, hit the return key twice. And what we're going to do is make sure that the display is set to block right there. Okay, that's the first thing that we do. Now we're going to go ahead and you can see that it's already changing the formatting considerably, but that's a good thing at the moment. That's what it should look like. And as we begin to add additional selectors, it will work out properly, hopefully. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a new selector again for the whole table. So again, this is section table. Whoops, gotta make sure it's spelling it right. Section table. Return key twice. And what we want to do now is the margin. We're going to set the margins. On the right, we want to be auto. And on the left, we want it to be auto. Okay, so that there's space, automatic space, both left and right. Now we're going to create a new rule for the section header. Now, the order of this, I'm just going by the book. I suppose it could be done in a different order, but they generally go from they usually go from general to specific, because the overall table elements to more specific table data elements, and that's what we're doing here. So the next one that we're going to do now is a section table header. We're going to work on that, so we have a specific rule for it. So this is going to be section make sure it's spelled right, table header, return key twice, go apply it. And now what I need to do is height, and there's a glitch in here. So if you're looking at your textbook, you'll see that the height is 0, the margin is 0, padding is 0, font size says 0, that should be 10. And then border none, overflow hidden. So height, I'm going to go in here. Let's make sure that under height, we want 0. So that will just be 0. There we go. We want margin to be, I'm going to use shorthand. That's all the way around, 0. We want the padding to be 0, and I'll use the shorthand for that, 0. Okay. And then we're going to use the font size, and font size should be, as I said, not 0. It should be, font size should be 10 pixels. So see, when I put it to 0, well, maybe it should be 0, because this is for the table header. So I will leave it 0. Let's leave it 0 for the time being, and I'll come back. I thought that was a mistake. Let's just leave it. And then let's make sure that we have overflow hidden. So where's the overflow? Let's see. Overflow. I can't. Oh, shoot. I forgot where it's at. Oh, here we go. That's overflow. Float. That's overflow X. I just want overflow hidden. So what I'm going to try to do, since I can't find it, let's go down here. And I'm going to try it here. I'm going to add more. Come on. Let's say show set. Go down here. And I'm going to put overflow. Hidden. Since I can't remember where it is. And then I'll turn off show set. So we can go back and see what we're doing here. Okie doke. So now we have the next step is we're doing this, and we can see that this is it's starting to look considerably different than before. Okay. So now what we're going to do, but it's getting closer to what it should look like. I'm going to go ahead and here, and we're going to create a brand new a selector, and there'll be a whole series of them for, let's see, we have the date, there's a bunch of them, the event, location, cost, class, description, day, and length. Okay, so a whole slew of them that we need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and select plus, and I want this one to be TD dot date, and I'm going to put colon before. Okay. And now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to set in here. I'm going to say show set. And then I'm going to click on more. So I can click in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in content. And then I'm going to hit the tab key. And in here, what I'm going to put in quotes, and then capital DATE, colon, space, and then double quotes again. Okay. Now we need to do that for each one of these. So hopefully I get them all and I don't forget. So what we're going to do the next one now, we're going to add another one. And this is, again, where it starts to get really tedious. I want in here, I want this one to be TD table data dot event colon before. And again, I'm going to put in here, I want this to be content. And I want it to be event. Again, that's the same format as what we did before. I want it to be quotes, capital event, colon, space, and then we have the double quotes again. Okie doke. So now I have to go through and I have to do this for each one of these. So I have, next one is location. So be patient with me. This is, I'm going to probably stop talking for a minute to make sure that I get all of these done. So I want, again, TD, and after event, I want location, and quote, colon before, and then I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put in content. Whoops, that's not right. Hold on, content. And then in here, we're going to put where my location. I want quotes, double quotes, location, semicolon, space, double quotes again. There we go. Okie doke. Let me keep going. We're just getting started here. So the next one is going to be cost. So I'm going to add a new one. So this will be TD table data cost colon before. And then again, we're going to put in content. And tab key. And then what I want again is I want double quotes. And I want cost. And I want it to be double quotes, space, or colon, space, double quotes. There we go. So hopefully each one of these are changing as I'm doing this. So after cost, we now have TD class. So I'm going to add another selector. I told you, very tedious. So TD table data class colon before. And again, over here. And again, to do this, you have, it's easiest if I just have show set there. So I could go ahead and put this in content and hit the tab key. And then I want, what do I want? I want double quotes and I want class colon space double quotes and hit the tab key again. So a lot of repetition, a lot of repetition on this one. I'm going to go ahead again, and after class, we're going to use description. So I want TD dot description. And if I make a typo on here, that could be disastrous. And then double colon, and then before. Because if there's any part of this that I've misspelled or put an extra space or something like that, it won't work. So I'd have to go back when all of this is done and check it, see how things are going here. So I'm going to put in again content, quotes, and I want description. Colon space double quotes. So how many more do I have to do? I have day and length. Those are the two. So let's go ahead and here. Again, TD day colon before content. And I need to put, say, double quotes, capital day, colon, space, double quotes, tab key. So I'm trying to go over this one at a time, make sure that I get it all right. I don't want any mistakes today. And the computer is working smoothly, so I don't want to jinx it. One more here, but we still have a whole bunch more selectors to make. So, but it should go a little bit quicker because we're going to create section tags, or for the section tag, we're going to have section date, section event, on and on and on. And then what we're going to apply specific widths and padding and positions for all of those, but I can copy and paste. These I can't copy and paste, unfortunately. So that was day. The last one is going to be length. Table data, length, before, quotes, content, quote, capital length, colon, space, double quotes, tab key. Okie doke. So I've got all those done. So now we need to create the following selectors for all of these contained within the select section. So that's the next step. And so far, so good. It looks correct. Okay. Okie doke. There's something that I may have done incorrectly. because this right here isn't going away. So before I go too far in here, I want to make sure. Oh, did I put, you know what? Oh, you know what? Border, I didn't put for section TH. So let me go back up here. Let me go back up here. And for the border, let me turn off here. Let's go into border. And border, I want none. That's where I forgot to put in here. There we go. See that border that I had here? I forgot to do that. I told you it's easy to overlook something and forget, and that's what I did. So let's go back again. Let's continue with that. The new selectors that we're going to add in here. But so far, so good. It's looking pretty nice. We're getting closer to the correct format. So I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and I want a brand new one. Now I want it. I'm just going to add a whole bunch of these at one time. And this one is going to be section space dot date, comma. This is all one selector. So if I goof up on any of this, it's because they're all separated by a comma. And the next one is going to be section dot event. They could be separate. Wait a minute, section space dot event. And then a comma, and the next one is going to be section location. Dot location. And comma. And then the next one is cost section. Whoops, see, misspelled. Section space dot cost, comma. And then after cost, I have class. So section space dot class, comma. And then description section, sure that's spelled right, space dot description. Oh, extra O there, that's no good. Comma, and then I have the length section. No, section dot length. And then space, and then the last one is day section space dot day. Okay, that's it. Return key twice. It's one lengthy one. What we're doing is we could have created separate selectors for each one of those, but it's an option to you. If you want to separate each one by a comma, it can be one single selector, one that applies to all of them. They just have to be separated by a comma. And then what you need to do is then we can go back in and we can say, you know, we can determine we want the width to be 100%. And so that will be, because they all have the same properties, it's not a problem. But if they had separate properties, then we wouldn't be able to just separate them by a comma. We would have to create a separate selector for each. So we want, we're going to use percentage, and we want 100%. And that's a good sign that that happened over to the left, because that means that it's affecting everything. Then we want the padding to the left. So let's go down to the padding. I want it to be 30% So we're going to do that in percentages. 30%. Notice how it pushed it all over. We want position relative. So I'm going to go back up here. It's down here. Position, position, position. Come on, come on. I get lost in myself from time to time. Position should be relative. Oh, there it is, position right there. We want relative. And then we want text align left. So we'll go to the text. We want it aligned left. Notice how that pushed the cost over so that these were all lined up and they're pushed over by a relative 30%. Getting closer, getting closer. But notice how it's completely reformatting all of this. Okie doke. So now we need to create a new rule of table data before. Lots of new rules for this media query. So we want PD : before. Return key. Now what we need to do is we want the width. So this is for the data. We want the width to be 25%. So I'll go to percentages. I want it to be 25%. We want display to be block. We want padding right 10 pixels. We want position absolute. We want the top hold on here. We want the top to be 6 pixels. And if things are changing over here, then that's good, because that means I'm doing it right. 6 pixels. We want the left to be 1M. And the tab key. We want the color to be 060. So I'm going to change the color up here for the text. Anytime they specify color, that refers to the color of the text. So I want it to be here, 060, and I forget which green that is. So just type it in, 60, there we go. You know, and it should change. Notice that the date, the event, the location, the cost, all those things change colors. And we want the font weight to be bold. We're getting closer. So it stands out a little bit more from the rest. Very nice. And then white space, we want no wrap. So under white space, we don't want any kind of wrap, meaning it goes, we don't want it to wrap down to the next white space. Come on, come on, come on. It's down here. No wrap. So that means it just doesn't, if there is too much, we don't want it to drop down to the next line, that it will just cut it off, and that will be in good shape. Okie doke. So now we need another new rule. We're getting closer. Notice how it's formatting really nicely for that. It all looks good. I'm very happy today because that's working, but I don't want to speak too quickly because that's when things get goofed up. So now I want another section table row. So we're going to add another one. Section. Whoop, come on. Section. Table row. So that's TR. Turn key twice. And now what we want to do is we want the border bottom. So we got a border and we want the bottom. We want it to be solid. We want the thickness to be 2 pixels. Not thin, but we're going to do it in pixels. We want it to be 2. 2 pixels. And we want the color to be 060. There we go. So now you can see that each of those sections is divided by a border that's a little bit larger. Now, the very last thing that we're going to do, and we'll be done, we can do spell checking. I'm going to let you guys do that on your own, but Dreamweaver does have a feature that allows you to do spell checking in here. It works pretty well, as good as any of the Adobe applications do. But the last thing that you do, that they're decided to do, which is a design feature, is that every other one of these little blocks or groups will have a background color that's slightly different. So this would be odd, even, odd, even. So all of the even ones are going to have a slightly darker color background, again, to help distinguish and allow you, the viewer, to follow from, you know, make it more readable from one section to the next. So to do that, we need to create another rule here. So again, one more rule, and I think we're going to be done with our rules. So this would be section TR, table row, and I want it to be colon, and I want it to be nth hyphen of type hyphen type, and then I want in parentheses even. So that's what I want. And then what we're going to do is background color. That's the only thing that we're changing on this. We want the background color. We want to be, there's this one we haven't used before. So I'm going to go back here. I want it to be D4E AD4. It's this light green here. Maybe we have used it before. So I'll go ahead and I'm gonna, yeah, we did use it. It's this one right here. And you can see that the background, actually I had it wrong. This is this would be even. So even, odd, and it changed it all. Is that the right color? That doesn't look right. I'm going to go back again. No, it's not. It's a different one. I misspoke. So let's D4E AD4. There you go. Yeah, it is a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. Let's go ahead and click on there. There we go. That makes it a little bit more readable. So that is it for today. Now you can see that I'm going to make sure that everything is saved since it's working nicely and things aren't goofed up. I'm going to make sure that I say save all. That will save not only the page, but more importantly, it will save all of the styles that I created for the media query. And you can see as soon as I stretch it out, it looks different. You know, that it's formatted correctly for a large screen or a tablet. You know, tablet, it will still hold up. And you can see that it goes to a 2-column for vertical tablet. And then when it goes all the way down to a smartphone, it restyles entirely. And it looks really elegant and very readable and, you know, very easy to read on a small display. Much better than if it were to just, in the past, if we had a table, it would just shrink it down and it would be illegible. It wouldn't be, you wouldn't be able to see a thing. It would just shrink it down. So that's it for today. Unless there's something specific that you guys have that you want me to talk about or help you with. If not, then I will stop the recording, and this Thursday, we're going to begin working on lesson 10. Okay, which is really what we started with this semester, which was working with images. But there are some nice features with images that we haven't covered yet, but I felt it was more important to make sure that you know how to properly name them and how to use the proper formats for images and that sort of thing, and understand the difference between bitmap and vector images, and know that you were to use 72 pixels per inch, not 200 or 300, that sort of thing, before we even got started with anything. Okay, but there are some other nice features in making sure that the images that you put in there, again, are like kind of spandex pants that will fit the size of the screen properly. And that works really nicely too. There's some bootstrap classes that you can add for that. So, as I said, that's it for today. I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to pause the recording, and that will be it for it. We've got it done, and it all looks good. Okie doke.